My name is Olivia Boen. I'm a classical soprano. Come have a coffee with me.
You just told us you're an opera singer. It's kind of a rare niche profession. How surprised were you that it actually worked out trying to become an opera singer?
Well, I have a unique background because I come from a super musical family. Both my parents work at the Lyric Opera of Chicago and the Grand Park Symphony Orchestra, and I think because I got to meet so many amazing singers, I knew it was possible, and I knew you could have a life and that you could still be a well-rounded person and do this insane thing. They always say, you never had to be a musician, you could be whatever you wanted, but it definitely is the family trade, and it's the family trade, but singing is still a different world than the instrumental world. There are a lot of differences, and I think they're enjoying getting to see how things are different on our side than theirs.
What would you have done if you didn't have this voice and this natural skill you can work with now? What other career or path would you have seen yourself on?
I definitely would have worked in health. I actually did my yoga teacher training a few years back, and it's my other sort of love in life is health and wellness and fitness, helping people.
Did you have any artists that inspired you throughout the years, and did that change?
Oh, totally. I mean, I'm always trying to pay attention to what's going on now and be inspired by the way people are adapting to the modern world. But I think there are three sopranos who influenced me the most when I was younger. Renee Fleming, Mirella Freni, and Carmina Gauvin. At least that's how I think you say her name. I might be totally wrong, and I'm really sorry if I am. But those three, they do very different things, but they do them all incredibly well. And if I could take a little bit of each of them and put them together, that would be my dream.
What do you think is the place for opera in these modern times?
Ooh.
Asking for myself, because it's my job to translate it into the digital world.
I think opera is an expression of humanity. And it doesn't have to be for everyone. I think that's one thing that we sometimes get really caught up in, is that we need to produce things that are for absolutely everyone. And that is just not how humans work. No one agrees on anything. You'll find things that you find in common, and that's wonderful. But I think if we can find these threads that define humanity, these themes that we keep coming back to, and translate them into what it means in the modern world, then we've done our job. I think it doesn't mean that everything needs to be a modern production, but it has to reverberate with us in our modern sensibilities. And music at large is a community event, and whether you like it or not, your body will have a physiological response to it that connects you to the people next to you. So I think it's a bonding experience, and it's an opportunity for us to say to one another, I've got you, I understand you.
I think that's also the reason why it has to be experienced live in person, if possible, not via stream or so. It doesn't translate so well to streaming, I think.
It's tricky. I think we have to know what the online sphere has to offer the art at large, and live performance will never be replaced. There's nothing that can replace the feeling of being with people in time and space in a moment that can't be recreated.
What do you need to study in your role? Can you do it basically anywhere, or do you have specific things around you to come into this focus mode?
I mean, it depends on the music. I'm lucky because I have a good sense of pitch in my head, and so I'm able to kind of work when I need to anywhere. But something I find really helpful is moving specifically while I memorize. So sometimes I'll take my score or my text to the gym and just walk on the treadmill trying to get it in my brain. And I did hear somewhere, they've done research that when you move, it activates a different part of your memory, and it actually will help it stick. So for me, learning music is very easy. That's the fast part of the process for me, but the memorization is not my favorite part.
Yeah.
And that's what takes me so long. And so I can't just sit on my couch all day being like, doo-ba-doo-ba-doo, doo-da-doo. Oh no, again, doo-ba-doo-ba-doo, boo-ba-doo. So I go to the gym, or I go on a walk, or I annoy people on the train and mumble to myself. Yes. You just kind of get used to the fact that people sometimes look at you.
Yeah.
Although a lot of the time I'll do it, I'll be going through something in my head, and then I'll realize that I'm actually doing it out loud, and then I notice the weird looks, and I'm like, no, that wasn't me. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you have, besides mumbling on the train, any other weird thing you do while practicing your singing?
Oh, practicing is such an interesting beast, you know. We spend so much of our time being so in community with other people, and so having to be so open to other people's feedback. And then suddenly you get in the practice room and you have to work through all of it. And sometimes I just end up so in my head that I have to find a way out of it. And so sometimes I will literally go upside down and go in a headstand, or if I'm really into it that day, I'll try to do a forearm stand. And I would love to get to the place where I could somehow sing in a handstand, but I need to work on that. So that's my next goal. But yeah.
Can you think of an opera that would be also great
As a movie?
Yeah.
I think Manon, the Massenet, would be a good movie.
Talking about the roles you performed so far, is there any role that stands out for you that was like a key role for you so far?
I definitely think Gretel and Humperdinck's Hansel and Gretel, because it was my first big role on a big stage. It was an amazing team, and it's such an amazing piece. It's written so well. I mean, the orchestration is much bigger than people realize, so it's also challenging because you have to really learn how to navigate the youthfulness with a bigger orchestra and finding, you know, not compromising your real sound, but finding this childlike manner. But it's so fun, and all the scenes are the perfect length. The kids stay engaged. It doesn't matter if you're 5 or if you're 85. That feeling that I'm always looking for, which is this real connection to other people, is always so present, especially in Hamburg, where our production is so old, and people now who are parents or grandparents saw it 50 years ago, and it's amazing. It's really amazing.
They come with their grandchildren.
And they come with their grandchildren.
Imagine you have all the time in the world, and you cannot fail.
Ooh.
What project would you like to do in your office?
I always kind of joke about this, but I also mean it entirely seriously, that I will be the happiest person in the world when I get to sing Salome, but I get to do the Dance of the Seven Veils from Trapeze Silks. And that's when the time really comes into play, because I've done a couple classes, but I am not a pro at any kind of aerial arts. So if I had all the time in the world and I could not fail, therefore also guarantee that Salome will fit my voice one day, that is 100% what I would do.
That is very badass.
Thank you.
Last question.
Yeah.
When the show ends and the people are celebrating, applauding, and you do the bows, do you already have a specific gesture you like to do at the end at your bows?
I mean, most of the time, I'd say about 50% of the time, I'm trying to not fall on whatever costume I've got on. So it's a nice little, like, how do I move this aside and also look somehow elegant curtsy? There's a somebody I'm longing to see. I hope that he turns out to be